salvation, here to teach all nations that when we choose to unite as one, I tell you truly our freedom will come. So open up your hearts and receive the healing of the Almighty. Clean hands and a heart so pure. Unto Zion we go. Unto Zion we go. Unto Zion we go. Unto Zion we go.
Hello, lovely people. It is a beautiful sunny day here at the meeting place of heaven and earth. I am thankfully staying nice and warm in the car where it's a lot quieter and more private. I don't have to worry about people in the cafe making loud noises and all of that fun stuff. So, God and Goddess, thank you so much for this lovely sun, the lovely weather that we are having in the middle of winter. Although maybe it is not natural, please help the earth return to her natural state. Help us to realize that we are hurting her in various ways with deforestation and spraying and all the different ways that the powers that be have led us astray to this current mess. Please help us to remember why we came here so that we can ascend, uplift ourselves and others, and accomplish the things that we set out to do. Help us to see ways all around us that we can be of service to others and a blessing to this world. Thank you so much for everything that you give us. Thank you for the fresh air and all of the needs that you provide for us. Help us to be grateful in times of good and in the bad times as well, so that we can be just appreciative and find healing through that as well. In the name of Elohim, I pray. Amen. Today on the Nasarean calendar, here is our prayer. It is Humanity Day, and the prayer is, Our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, send to all your angel of peace. To humanity, send your angel of holy work. I love the story of Ezra the frog, which we read in the book of Isha, and we saw how her one day affected so many different souls in great ways. And we can really only pray that we can live up to those things where our days are full of positive, light-bearing, loving acts instead of the normal human day that is full of, unfortunately, meaningless tasks and sometimes even worse, cruel things. Ways that we treat animals, ways that we treat other people can be either of the upward spiral and bringing us more fulfillment and joy and love and light into this dark world, or it can be dragging us down. And unfortunately, most people are on the downward spiral, and it is our great joy to try to help people realize that there are two options, that they don't have to be on that downward spiral. Most people think that life is just suffering and unfortunate situations until you die, and then there's nothing. And so with that, if that's your outlook on life, you're going to probably try to find escapist behaviors. You're likely not going to care as much you treat others if you don't believe that there is karma for your actions. Different factors like that our worldview definitely is. The worldview impacts how we act in so many different ways. Before, even as a mainstream Christian, I can see how my behaviors have been different than when I am now reading and trying to follow the Holy Megillah and aligning with Yah's way. Just even the way that I treat other people, the way that I am wanting to treat other people and wanting to be the hands and feet of Christ and be that loving element that shines brightly to the world, as opposed to those thoughts of, God is a jealous, angry, wrathful being that is happy with hard justice and all of those, the mentality of a lot of people that are excited essentially to say, you better repent, you're doing evil, and if not, you're going to burn. And they're like excited to, well, they'll probably light the match themselves. If not, they got their non-vegan marshmallows to toast over the fire as it burns you for doing whatever sin that they feel deemed, they feel justified, you know, damning you over. And of course, that their sins are a different story. They better not be punished for eating their pig items, their animal flesh, all these other things that we all know inherently are wrong. But so often it's societal programming, it's even spiritual programming. I when I first started waking up, I remember hearing veganism is a new world order, a diet or agenda or whatever, and along with the false scriptures of Paul that say that, you know, veganism essentially is a doctrine of demons, which doesn't actually make sense, because in the same book it says in the end that Paul says that veganism is a doctrine of demons, but in Genesis 1, that's what the creator says for all beings. That's that they should all eat raw herb and fruit bearing seed. In the Garden of Eden, they didn't consume flesh. They were vegan. They weren't even consuming eggs and milk. Of course, mammal babies are going to consume milk. That is a different story. If I have a child, obviously me breastfeeding that child is going to be a vegan activity, because that milk was made for that child. I'm giving it freely, happily, excitedly, and also I'm vegan. So regardless, like, people want to be like, oh, well, vegans can't breastfeed, and all these really silly things that are not true. My whole point was that people want to say that veganism is a doctrine of demons while holding the, well, maybe they don't hold it so closely knit. Maybe they kind of distance themselves from the fact that there was an Edenic diet so that they don't have to think about it. But you can't, I mean, having both of those ideas and believing them both at the same time is contradictory. You can't both believe that it's a doctrine of demons and also believe that God, your holy creator, prescribed that in the Garden of Eden. Otherwise, God is prescribing doctrines of demons. God is a demon. Like, that's very confusing messaging there, but that's what these mainstream religions are, right? They are confusions. They are mixes of truth and lies. And as we see from the Megillah, the usual operation was that the false Yahweh sent his priests in to kill all the other priests of a religion. Then they would infiltrate with their own priests and start to little by little corrupt the religion, mainly through adding animal and human sacrifice as the underlying tenet of the faith, that God is this jealous, angry, wrathful being, and we need to appease him and escape his wrath by going and sacrificing helpless animals. It's crazy how when you're in this religion, you really don't see how demonic that is, to think that our creator requires us to, well, in their belief as well, often you don't believe that you made a choice to come here. It's kind of like God put you here. So it's like, okay, God put you into this fallen world knowing that you would sin, and the only option that he gave you in order to rectify those sins with him is to go and kill animals. Like, that is, you're born a sinner, you need to do all of these things. So, like, it's just built into the requirements that he requires blood sacrifice. And yeah, I fundamentally reject that. But at the time, you don't really think about the details. You don't think about how it's blood sacrifice and it's black magic ritual. And even when you're eating animal flesh, you might not be getting an altar. Well, technically you kind of are getting an altar, because your stove, your cooktop, your dinner, that's kind of your altar, or your tables, your counters in a way are your altars. When you're cooking stuff, that is exactly, your stove is your altar, because you're bringing your burnt sacrifices, you're putting those on there. Those those fumes and smells are going up, and demons are attracted to that. When you're cooking flesh, that smell of bacon, oh, I've always hated the smell of bacon, but those kinds of scents, the smell of burning flesh, is what demons are one of the very many things that the demons are attracted to. And so, yeah, they can live vicariously through us and also trick us into liking those smells and tastes as well. I wasn't exactly planning on getting off on that vegan tangent, but hey, anytime, anywhere. David D says, unto Zion we go. Exactly. I love that, especially when I'm coming home from Florence, coming back to Mount Shasta to listen to that song, because I've said for quite a long time that I believe that Mount Shasta is really important. That's why I'm here. That it is the meeting place of heaven and earth, that it is, tied to that Edenic paradise that we once lived in. And so, yeah, I love listening to Unto Zion as I'm driving here and thinking about all the great things that the future holds for Mount Shasta. It can be kind of hard to think about all of the positive things, because so much of it is like, so I'm gonna have to wait to get the positive stuff until some of the negative stuff happens first, which is more like the crap hitting the fan and people getting shaken up from their 9-to-5 lifestyle, their security, their matrix comfort, right? There are lots of us Nasarean brothers and sisters spread out all over the country, all over the world. Well, it's interesting. When I started to become a Torah follower, this was way back in 2015, there was something that was going around called the Second Exodus, and they were pulling these teachings from the Old Testament and other whatever, that were talking about the end days and how there would be a second time where people from all over essentially would get up and go to wherever they were called to go, and essentially that was when the real state of Israel would be established. And so, yeah, I started getting exposed to some of those teachings. And then, of course, Mount Shasta was discovered. And, well, she found me, I found her, whatever you want to say, because all of these things are divinely unraveling in their own cool ways. So, unto Zion we go. Cool. Hello, Matrick. How's it going? Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Deity says most souls are dragging us down, but if you can get most going up, then they will lift this world into a real golden age. Exactly. We got to get enough of us that are spinning in the upward direction. And because of group consciousness, it's going to have an interesting effect as well, because it's like, think about you and all of the people that you're around and how they're seeing you change, and it is infecting them and changing and encouraging and inspiring change in them. And eventually then more and more cogs. I love this ring, because a few weeks ago I don't even know how long the timetable was, but anyways, I was thinking of myself almost as this like cog in a plane of cogs. So they're all like circular this way, right? Laying beside each other, and thinking of like, if I am out of balance or misaligned, then my cog is going to start having that negative effect on other people. And if I'm of the downward spiral, my cog is going to have that effect on everyone else around me as well. But if I can get myself aligned where I'm not sideways at any point, I'm at still zero, I'm chill, and I start spinning of the upward way, then that's going to have the same kind of effect on other cogs around me, but it's going to be in a positive way. This ring, I actually didn't realize at the time that I bought it that it was actually cogs, but because I just saw that it was like a pretty blue design, and then I looked a little bit closer, which probably is not working for you, but there's a bunch of little tiny ear cog type things, whatever they're called. I don't really know. correct me if I'm wrong. I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. I'd rather be right. So if I'm wrong, then let me know, because I will change my opinion and beliefs when there's truth that is presented. So I think that's how we should all be. Patrick says, what do you think of chicken eggs? I love me a broccoli cheddar omelet. I personally do not believe that chicken eggs are meant to be consumed. They come out of what is called the cloaca, Cloaca, I believe. And it's actually like a Latin or whatever word for like the sewer or the septic, like it's the septic system of the bird. And even before I knew that, personally, I always kind of associated eggs with baby birds. So I don't, I don't want to put any like building blocks of baby birds in my mouth, whether it's fertilized or unfertilized. Either way, it's like the the process is kind of starting in that bird, and those, it's just, for me, it's not for human consumption. There's actually a specific chemical that is in eggs as well that I don't remember what it is exactly off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that it is not just in eggs, but in meat as well. But it's linked to depression and other types of issues. So yeah, so for multiple reasons, I do not believe that eggs are meant for human consumption. Now, Lord and Lady Christ, in their teachings, allowed for these things when the birds are well cared for, when they're your rescue chickens and they are laying eggs that are just, you got a lot of eggs and you whatever, that's a different story. But as I've mentioned before, the modern industry, like I think over 80 to 90% of your chicken raised for eggs are raised on factory farms. These animals are going to be slaughtered when they can't produce any more eggs. Often they will be debeaked or have essentially their fingernails chopped off. With the debeaking thing, there's a lot of nerves and stuff in their beak, and I've seen some videos where these people are just grabbing the birds and going pretty fast, and like they can, if they miss chop in any way, it can actually cause serious issues. It can cause problems for the bird feeding, and like they can actually die from it because their beak gets so mangled that they're not able to get food in there, and then they just end up dying. So yeah, it's a really messed up situation. So I think that personally, unless you have rescue chickens, I don't, or know somebody that does, that's a really sensitive topic. I've mentioned before that if I meant to look this up yesterday. If I had rescue chicken, I would try to find a supplement or whatever herb could trigger their body to stop producing eggs so much, because it's really not healthy for them to be producing an egg a day. It's very taxing on their system, and it's going to lead to their early death, because to produce all of those nutrients in the egg, and like they can't consume that much, so it starts coming from their bones, it starts coming from their other body parts, and that's when they get osteoporosis and other things that are linked to high consummation of those things like eggs and dairy. So David D says that they are pedivores in that they eat baby animals. This is the true doctrine of demons. Absolutely. Let me actually pull this thing up too, because oh, is it here? Cool. This scripture from the book of Noah. The false Yahweh had long demanded, the part that's missing, it just says from his island in Natalia, demanded human sacrifice, and now also encouraged cannibalism. He told his priests, by this all men shall know that you are my disciples, that you eat human flesh and drink human blood. For this is the bread and wine of my covenant. Do this in remembrance of me. And so cannibalism had begun to spread throughout the land. For having first eaten animal flesh, it was not so hard to eat human flesh. Meat is definitely meat after all. It's interesting that we are programmed to categorize it in different ways. I mean, like, they don't even, is fish even considered meat sometimes? Like, they're like, oh, I don't eat meat, but I eat fish. It's like, fish is meat? What are you talking about? Like, We are made out of meat. So yeah, people be like, oh, if God didn't want us to eat animals, why did he make us out of meat? Like, by that logic, he wants you to eat humans too, because we're made out of meat. Like, anyways, they want to desensitize us, and obviously they can't. The false Yahweh didn't just jump right in with like, hey, why don't you go in? He didn't go into Adam and Eve and be like, hey, Adam, why don't you, off Eve and then eat her blood or eat her body, right? It started off with go and hurt animals, and even after they hunted one animal, they were like, oh man, I feel so bad. And the false Yahweh is like, that's because, well, you didn't follow my rules, and because you haven't done it enough. I'll help you. And that's when they can live, those demons can come in and live vicariously through you. So even in the text it says like, you'll salivate over your prey. You'll be getting anticipated. You'll have this anticipatory rush, and you'll get so excited over seeing your prey, and all this interesting stuff that that hunters kind of talk about, right? It's like, these are actually demonic entities that are living vicariously through us. Us as beings, well, I guess I can't speak for everybody, but no one started out as these killers and these low vibe beings. Like, so yeah, all of the souls that Yah made were of well, God and Goddess, when they started, their dance of creation, those sparky souls all flying up and of the upward spiral, because that's what they were, and that's what Yah is. That's the children that they make, because their children are in the likeness of them. So the default is of the upward spiral. And really, we're still of that, even no matter how far we've fallen in our own personal lives or how fallen we are in this world. That divine spark of I am within is still trying. Your nature is still that. And all this other stuff is the matrix programming and hurt and pain that we've kind of taken on, that are dimming our shine and causing that I am flame to to be stifled and to not shine as brightly in certain different places. And it's part of the healing process, right? Remembering who I am, who you are, who we are, and healing, and really trying to find how we can shine our light. We're told so often in this world, like, especially as a kid, like I remember, hey, you're being disruptive. Shh, don't act this way. Don't say that. Don't do this. All of these ways that we're like programmed. And obviously, I don't believe that children should have a free for all and just act like crazy or whatever. But when it comes to like expressing ourselves and even our emotions, right? Don't feel that, especially you guys, don't have emotions. Don't feel this way. Don't look for love. Don't want your happily ever after. Don't, like, there's so many different forms of programming that tries to tell us who to be, tries to tell us what to want, tries to tell us what to do in this life, and kind of shaking that all off and becoming the I am inside, letting that really shine is what it's all about. And I'm super excited that we get to live during this time of awakening in humanity's awakening process, that we can connect like this and we can see this stuff actually happening. Like, 20 years ago, even whatever beyond that, these topics weren't being discussed about. People weren't really, yeah, they weren't so focused on the spirituality. They were more focused on that rigid religious aspect of everything. And I saw this post within the last few days that was like kind of talking about religion versus spirituality, and saying that, like, religion instills fear, spirituality, whatever. And every one of the points, I'll have to, maybe we could talk about it a little bit in depth in the future when I have the thing up beside it. But it was interesting because everyone that I read that is religion, to me, did not fit the Holy Megillah and the Nasarean religion. So I was like, that's really cool. It's like the only one that doesn't have instilling fear and trying to separate you from the creator and all of these different things that average people would relate with religions and then try to demonize. I find it hilarious that, like, even 5 years ago, I would have been like, I'm not, even 2 years, 1 year ago, I would have been like, oh, I don't follow religion. I'm more about having a relationship with God and spirituality and stuff. And then finding the Nasarean religion of the Essene Way has changed me on that, because I mean, I'm not opposed to religion. I am actually really happy of about the Bahir Shabbatayim that we read in the book of Genesis, and that literally laid out the Nasarean religion. It told us how the church would be established. It talks about the 12 tribes. It goes into all these details about the communions and the prayers and different things like that, which is what religion is, right? There's a formula, there's a set out plan that is the way. And so, yeah, I've come full circle. And I'm like, yes, I am religious. Actually, I do follow a religion, and I'm really laughing as I say that, because I would not have ever thought that. Cool. Matrix says, I've raised my own chickens. Cool. Well, that is a good thing, as long as they're not being slaughtered. Hey, you can consume the eggs if you want, as long as those eggs are the chicken are taken care of. I personally, again, my own personal convictions are different than what the Lord and Lady require. They only require vegetarianism, and that those animals are well taken care of and loved. And I do not impose anything on anybody that they do not themselves. So as far as me being a militant vegan, that is my own conviction, and I am happy that more people actually are realizing how careful you have to be as a vegetarian in this world, because of how overlapped the dairy and the egg industry is with the meat industry on out there in the world. So yeah, I think I might have mentioned to you that after my vegan speech, somebody basically said that they were going to go vegan, and someone that I never ever expected this from, that they're going to go vegan, and then they proceeded to kind of repeat back some of the things that I mentioned in my speech about the cage-free labels being, not so much cage-free. Just means they're not in a battery cage, which is like the smallest cage possible. If you go up one size, that is considered cage-free in some circumstances. So these labels are very loose in their definitions. And also, if you know anything about this world, someone can easily pay for a label for something, and hey, I got enough money. Can you just put your organic label on my product? Can you put your other label on my product? And then people will pay more for it without you actually having earned that actual label. So organic's one of the problems too. And, we got to be careful about the vegan stuff as well, because we can't really trust our enemies to be truthful with us. I mean, they haven't been truthful with us about mainstream food, let alone vegan food. But man, that's yeah, mainstream food is very bad. I mean, the Cinemex, is that what it's called? The feed, I don't like that word, but stem cells and stuff like that. Yeah, different natural flavorings, different ways that bugs are put in your candy, and all these different things that they're like, sneaking around in the industry, putting really disgusting, corrupting, perverse things in our food and sitting back and laughing at us. Anyways. David says the mainstream Bible is full of satanic corruptions, adding blood sacrifice and animal flesh eating. The original Bible, Megillah, reveals God's true will. God desires we eat a fleshless diet. Absolutely. Hey, Dave. Dave says, cool cogs. Let's get our cogs aligned, right? It's definitely I really love this. The ring. And when I saw it in the store, I didn't even really, again, recognize that it was cogs. And then it was later I had it. I'm like, oh yeah, I just had that thought about being a cog, and like it's just kind of cool, synchronicity type thing. David says eggs were more necessary in ancient times. We have easy access to nuts, beans, and nutritional yeast to get all the nutrients we need. On that note, I would also add that I never like ate eggs growing up, so I'm not like someone that wants to go find egg substitutes or anything. But I have had some tofu scramble type dishes in like a burrito or something like that, which was really, really good. And for our Easter event, we made these, I'm going to call them angeled eggs, which were actually potatoes. You boil potatoes, like you get potatoes that are kind of like the size of an egg. You boil them, you cool them down, cut them in half, you scoop out a little bit, you mix it with some, I think it's vegan mayonnaise, salt, garlic maybe, with the key ingredient being black salt. It is a really awful smell. Like if you, I opened the bag and I couldn't even do it. I had to pass the baking activity on to someone that actually liked eggs, because the smell of that black salt, it's mullah. Let me just make sure, because there's different types of black salt. So black salt, mullah, I think it's called. Oh, kala namak. And it is Indian black salt. It is prized for its unique sulfurous, savory, and slightly egg-like flavor and smell, often used in vegan cooking. And you can also use it in spiritual item crafting for mineral properties. Cool. So you can order this kind of stuff online. This is not the kind that I got, and I don't endorse any specific types or anything like that. But anyways, if you're looking for something eggy, I definitely suggest that, because other people really liked it. I don't even think I tried one of them, because I don't like eggs to begin with. So I don't want to try it. Okay. Hello, Radislav. We need you to have, hey, rad guy. That's what we'll just call you. Hey, rad person. Hi. We being American special of today looks this politics and media. I am not 100% sure what you mean. Hello, Z Proxy. How's it going? That we're the animals, especially if we look at politics and media. Is that what you're trying to say, that we're the animals? Because I definitely agree with that the powers that be see us as animals. They even call us goyim, and they try to herd us, manipulate us, use their Judas goats to lead us to slaughter, which is really interesting. I didn't even know anything about a Judas goat before learning more about the animal agriculture industry. In order to get like some of these slaughterhouses, like the sheep would need to go to the top floor, and they would have this, walkway system outside or wherever. Anyways, they would get a goat that would essentially lead them up and would be like, bah, come on. And as soon as they get to the top, the goat goes off to the right, and the sheep are following too quickly to realize what's going on. And they the farmer pulls a door and they get put to the left. The freaking Judas goat sometimes is paid with a cigarette. Like, seriously, this stuff is actually nuts. Like, they will do this for the prize of a smoke. But anyways, before the sheep realize that they have been led to the slaughter, they're already in too fast and they can't get back out of the slaughterhouse room. So it's really interesting, though, that they use this goat to do it instead of trying to, force the sheep. They just lure the sheep to their place by presenting one that appears, or at least sounds like them. That's literally what they do with political heroes, truther heroes, all these different fake heroes that we are given to cheer for, to follow. We're running after them, following, like, yes, we like what you're saying for the world. Let's go. And then all of a sudden they have some sort of underground bunker that is like a trap door that they're able to go down, and then it locks, and we're all going off of a cliff at 100 miles per hour. Like, anyways. David says we have to wake up to who we really are and align our deeds with our soul's true will. Absolutely. Hey, Jennifer, how's it going? Hello, sister. I am going to send you some stuff later. The reason that I didn't have my Megillah reading for today ready is because I spent a lot of time planning the Nasarean gathering, or at least brainstorming the ideas for the Lionsgate gathering, which I'm making a new poster for with updated details, because this is going to be, as far as the public goes, a one-day thing on 8/8 with a vegan dinner and some live music and guest speakers, including Day of Greenleaf, the translator of the Holy Megillah. Super excited to hear about what he's going to talk about. I know that it has to do with the Green Lion Army, so that'll be really cool. And yeah, I've been trying to brainstorm some different ideas about that and get that all organized. So I did not have the rest of my slides for the book of Noah today, but I am planning on doing that today after I get off of here. So anyways, I just brought that up because Sister Jennifer will be there and will be speaking as well. I'm super excited for the whole event. As I mentioned, the public part is only going to be on 8/8 for actual Lionsgate. But for the inner circle, for people that are coming out of town that want to fellowship a little bit more, for people that are actually Megillah lovers, we have a lot more activities planned. We have a house rented, and we got like multiple days worth of activities with 8/8 kind of in the middle of our own little private event. So I'm really looking forward to all of the different things that we're going to do, the fellowship that we're going to have, being able to go explore Mount Shasta. Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun. So anyways, I am going to jump off of here because, like I said, I have things that I need to do today, and including the book of Noah. I'm planning on having that tomorrow for you, and we will just continue with that. So tomorrow at noon, we will continue with the book of Noah, and I hope that you will join me. I know that we just read it like within the last month, but I also this time have visual aids, different graphics that will help us to kind of, see who people are. You can see what their name meanings are and what different, things that they did and different things like that. So I hope that you will join me tomorrow at noon for the book of Noah. In the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Jennifer says, it's so exciting. Excited for the Green Lion Army. Me too, sister. I'm excited for you to come and explore Mount Shasta as well, because yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited for what you have to share about the apple seed prophecy as well. Dave said, Nasarean Lions Gathering. Woohoo! Yes, I'm really excited. And yeah, Dave's going to be part of the planning committee as well as Jennifer. And it's kind of a smaller group of planners for right now. But yeah, it's probably better that we don't have too many people trying to say what everything should be and can do it. I know that Jennifer's also going to help me plan the meal aspect stuff of that. She has her own little donut, and not little, but her own donut and coffee type business thing going on as well, which is really cool. Hopefully we can find some vegan donuts to have for our gathering. Maybe not the public part, but just to have on hand for people to munch on in the morning for breakfast. Oh, it's making me so hungry. What I would really love is if we could have a vegan long john, like a maple bar thing. I know that's not exactly easy to do, but man, I would love that. All right, I'm going to get off of here before I make myself too hungry thinking about donuts that I cannot easily access or easily recreate. I hope that you have a wonderful day and will join me tomorrow. May God and the Goddess bless you.
Here's I